Ah, looks like we've got a new defendant. Welcome to the court, defendants. I'm MangaKamen, and welcome to Ace Attorney Month!
Objection!
Yes, Ace Attorney, one of the top franchises that have become from Capcom and have inspired countless fan games, YouTube videos, memes, and so much more. With the legal ace of Phoenix right at the helm of most of these games, with memorable characters, tongue-in-cheek humor, and of course, murder! The series has certainly garnered the attention over the past decade and a half of the gaming community, and with the latest game coming out this month, I'm dedicating an entire month for this series on my channel. And to christen this celebration, we're starting out with the top 5 list of my favorite cases. Only rule here is from the officially released games to America, no fan translations. Also, just a little warning, spoilers. For games that are almost 15 years old. Yay! These 5 cases are my favorites, as well as the most memorable in my opinion. Feel free to tell me which 5 cases are like this for you guys in the comments below. And now, court is in session. One of my favorite cases would have to be the first case I ever played. And an interesting side note, the Ace Attorney original game was so popular that copies of the first game were scarce when it came out. My first introduction was from the second game, Justice for All, The Lost Turnabout. It was a birthday present from my dad, who both him and I were fans of Law & Order as well as other courtroom dramas. So when I booted up the game on my DS for the first time and saw the opening scene...
That's creepy!
It certainly cemented itself in my mind, as well as the case that followed. It was rather funny to see Phoenix try to provide a defense while having amnesia, and it also allowed a newcomer into the series to be introduced to the main cast of characters of the series. Maya, Gumshoe, the Judge... Who's this guy?
Oh, you stink!
Comes off as one of the more memorable breakdowns in the game as well, with Johann Sebastian Bach playing in the background and tying in with the opening scene that I opened up with.
Real mature.
Since this was my introduction to the system of Ace Attorney as well as the characters and wacky humor, this case will have a special place in my heart. It may be a simple case, but it's a memorable one for me. Let it be said that Phoenix Wright will never turn down a case, whether it be defending his friends, celebrities, or if we want to count people who work for Phoenix, the Yakuza. Phoenix knows no bounds when he protects his clients. And for the number 4 slot, we have a very unique case where Phoenix Wright defends...
She's the suspect in the murder, but she never hurt anybody.
She's the suspect?
Are you serious, in Arca? What the hell, man? Oh, right. I wrote this. Of course I'm serious. Turnabout Reclaim sees the return of Phoenix Wright, as well as the first time that Phoenix met with Simon Blackwell. The case is simple. A murder occurred in the local aquarium, and the victim was found in the tank of the Orla the Orca, who was initially charged with the crime. As par for the course, the case is filled with a number of interesting, funny characters that have all their own memorable traits and motivations. Hell, we could even get a rapper pirate.
Wait a minute, what is that?
Yeah. And you thought the One Piece rap was bad. Having an interesting premise, unique defendant, and even giving a couple of musical scenes, what can I say? I like the swashbuckler spectacular song, and Athena in a pirate attire is something I will not say no to. For all these reasons, this case lands in the number 4 slot.
It's all because you see grand treasure and adventures waiting just for me.
While not as prominent as the original games, Miles Edgeworth's games, Ace Attorney Investigations, are really fun to play, and actually shook up the formula a little bit. It makes my heart heavy that we didn't get support for it, or even get the sequel in the English release. So sad. So disheartening. Oh well, by the time this video comes out, Ace Attorney 6 will be out, so YAY! But one of the cases from the game that really stood out to me and became my usual to-go case when I would play the game is case number 4, Turnabout Reminiscence. In this case, we see a young Miles Edgeworth about to take on his first case, under the wise tutelage of Manfred von Karma. Edgeworth is taking over another prosecutor's case after the defendant accuses the prosecutor of being the shadowy thief known as the Yatagarasu. However, before the trial can actually begin, both the previous prosecutor and the defendant are both found dead in one of the defendant lobbies. This case has a lot of interesting traits shown to well-established characters. We see Dick Gumshoe as a rookie and learn that he has a mentor in Detective Bad. We also see a bit more into the rivalry of Edgeworth and Franziska, even though it's mostly one side on Franziska's part, as well as get some backstory on the overarching plot of the entire game. Speaking of characters, we actually get to question and argue with the judge. Yes, the judge. And holy carp, he actually has legs. I always thought he was a torso, head, beard, and mallet.
Oh, you stink!
Sigh. As this case is very tightly tied to the story, I won't go into too many details on what happens plot-wise, since I suggest you guys supporting the official release of the games. But there's one more thing. We probably get the funniest screenshot of the entire game in this case. If there's one thing you can gather from my channel, I enjoy flashy live-action shows, along with death-defying feats and hamming it up to awesome levels. So let's toss it out the window and talk about thieves, shall we? Yes, the stolen turnabout, which oddly enough starts off very differently with a trials case than pretty much every other case in Ace Attorney. It's actually a theft instead of a homicide, at least at first, which after dealing with 2 games full of nothing but murder is actually quite a breath of fresh air and really drew my attention towards the game. Throw in the fact that the opening cutscene showed a very fun and over-the-top thief with a mask that can break the laws of physics like Lupin III, and you've got me sold. This is also the first time we're introduced to the final boss prosecutor, Godot. What doesn't matter, people are still gonna correct me in the comments. And giving us one of the greatest themes of all time, Fragrance of Dark Coffee. Oh, and speaking of Godot, he pulls out one of the most interesting traps done in Ace Attorney, actually using an innocent verdict that Phoenix proves to get your client trapped into another crime. This case is actually a very interesting introduction towards this prosecutor, how he works, and aim to help build up the final story for the last of the original trilogy. So since this is number 2, what's number 1? I'm probably gonna get some flack for this, but what the hell. Number 1, Turnabout Succession. Now hold on, let me explain. Yes, the Apollo Justice game isn't as loved as the other games in the series. With the change of protagonists and all, it's probably one of the more decisive titles in the series, amongst fans. But in this humble Griffin's opinion, it's still a very well put, well together game, has a few fun cases with the Ace Attorney charm to them, and is actually very fun. This is culminated in the final case, with the death of a forger. In this case, you're defending Vera Misham, who is accused of murdering her father, a rather infamous forger, all the while testing out some new juris system. Come to think of it, we never did get back to the juris system in the last game, now did we? Huh. I guess all that hard work was done for nothing, Phoenix. Back on to point, being the last case of the game, this trial ties up all the mysteries that have been building throughout the entire game, as well as shedding light onto the backgrounds of the mysterious Gamare troupe, a group of magicians that Phoenix's daughter Trucy have a connection to. We're also given the chance to play as Phoenix Wright once more, and learn how he managed to lose his badge in the first place, as well as what was the spark that lit the entire events of the entire game, and also dual destinies. In addition, you get to play as some previous mechanics in the game, such as the Magatama to crack the witnesses' testimonies, as well as new mechanics such as going back and forth between past and present. Although one could argue that's more fourth wall breaking and such than an actual mechanic.
Stop looking into my soul!
But I digress. That being said, I enjoyed the wrap-up to this game, as well as giving a bit of closure to Phoenix's arc as a lawyer. Now, at the time, we had no idea that Dual Destinies was coming out, so if this was the final case for the Ace Attorney franchise, I would have been fine with Phoenix's character arc. So that's my list. Let me know down below what you guys think of the list, and tell me what your favorite cases are. And if you want to see more support for these kind of videos on my channel, and want to see more, smash that like button and give me a comment down below. I'm MangaKamen, and remember to examine your fandom.